Wala na sigurong 1 hour yan.
Oh shit, it's ano na pala dito. Dito nga pala tayo tumigil, no? Right at the
Yeah.
horror, bro. Right at the horror. Wait. Tanggalin lang natin. All good, pare. We're in the negatives.
Yung
Curiosity sinks in as I follow the sorrowful sound into the kitchen and into the wine cellar hatch.
Hello? Is anybody down there?
I'm curious and concerned, but there is no way I'm going down into a dark and humid underground. I'm not as enthusiastic as Luke, who considers himself quite the connoisseur. However, I also cannot bring myself to go to bed with this racket going on. If it is one of the household help, they will surely need some talking. After all, this wouldn't be the first time I've gone and found one of the maids sobbing their eyes out over one thing or another. As professional as our staff are, they are still human. More often than not, it was either Johans or I who'd calm them down, who'd help them figure out how to go on about things. Unfortunately, I am not in high spirits right now, so I'm not as wholly benevolent. So I will. So what do you want to do?
hatch, pare. Open the hatch.
Okay, so ito naalala ko na to. Yung consequence. Hindi naman consequence, yung kalalabasan if we open the hatch or if it,
Open the hatch sa taas, di ba?
either this or this yun. But if we open the hatch, for the viewers, spoiler alert, siguro ano nyo lang, skip forward nyo or i-mute nyo. Although maybe skip forward, maybe about 1 or 2 minutes into the future. But anyway, if you open the hatch, yun yung route na masasapian si Hannah.
Oh.
If we don't open the hatch, yun, hindi tayo masasapian. Kasi diba sa playthrough mo, we did open
Sinapian.
the hatch. Tas he found yung necklace, tas sinapian siya. Parang ganun. So, with that information, what do you want to do? Do you still want to open the hatch or do you want to call them out?
Call them out na lang, pare. Para ano. Call them out, pare. Call them out.
Okay, call them out. Ano din naman yun, nakasave naman. So, if ever, diba gusto natin ano.
Hindi, open the hatch muna natin para makita nila yung ano.
Okay.
Yung bubo.
Yeah. For the viewers, for the sake of, since this is a Halloween special, we need, spooks. We will open the hatch for you guys to see ano mangyayari? Diba? Damumo.
Ang ganda sa QTE.
Go to the branch. I may not be going down, but there's no point in talking through closed doors. Or hatches in this case. The thing refuses to budge at first until there's a soft click and it easily swings free. I lift up the hatch and look down into the cellar. A sense of uneasiness washes over me. It isn't just the sudden onset of vertigo and nausea, but also the darkness. It suffocates. And as I look down, it feels as if it's looking back at me. I worry that something will suddenly pull me into the deep. I can hear her whispering. Help me. Calling for me. She wants me. Needs me. Wants to drown me, pull me down, and suffocate me in her embrace until I sink to the bottom. A deep abyss awaits, inviting yet foreboding. She's calling to me from in there, isn't she? And I do not And I do want to help, I do. But the shadows threaten to creep out, and the feeling of apprehension keeps me in place. Already, it paints the room in a darker light. There is a lurching sensation, and the feeling that follows after is hard to explain. It feels like I'm watching myself from the sidelines, a spectator to my actions, or lack thereof. I will myself to snap out of this detached feeling, to move, to do anything except stare at myself. And, for a moment, I see the look of fear in my own face. I'm back in my body, but the hook in my stomach is no longer the only one. There are hooks everywhere, tearing and pulling at my skin, flesh, and bones. They pull at me in every direction, and it hurts. It hurts so much, but I just can't bring myself to scream out.
Help me.
Oh,
Oh. Oh.
I pressed the letter, right? Okay.
Yes.
Oh, shit. Meron pa pala. Yan. Awake from the hunger. So, oh yeah, yun lang naman yun. Anyway,
Yun lang naman.
we'll go back and go with our first call. I knocked 3 times. Waiting for any sort of reply yields me no results, and I've already touched the floor hatch far too many times than what I'd like. I take a deep breath before reaching out again to whoever's inside. I've learned from experience that people respond better to kindness than threats. Shouting angrily would not help in coaxing them out.
You in the cellar, do come out. We don't want Luke waking up and finding you in there, do we? That man would go ballistic thinking someone was trying to steal his precious wine.
Still nothing.
You can have a good cry, just not in there, yes? Why don't you come out here and we can have a cuppa and you can tell me all about whatever it is you're bawling about?
With how long I am standing here, however, I'm starting to think myself as a fool. I did not want to acknowledge the other feeling I have, especially as the wailing took an eerie turn. The thought of being played with didn't sit too well with me, and I had to stop myself from getting too hot-headed as I try one more time.
Now you come out of there! That is an order from the lady of the house, do you hear me? Why, I ought to...
I freeze as a hand clamps down on my shoulder. The dread I've been feeling all this time makes itself known as I kneel, unmoving, not even daring to breathe. I can feel my heart pounding against my chest. But the touch is gone as quickly as it had seized me. Oh my god,
Oy,
she
puta.
ran.
Si Ed Sheeran.
It's only Johans I see when I look back.
Apologies, madam, for touching you like that. You were not responding to my voice, and you looked about ready to wake the whole mansion up.
I was... Oh, I'm sorry. I was getting rather loud, wasn't I? But that crying woman in there, we must do something about her.
He grows silent for a moment and just looks concerned. At least, I'd like to interpret it as concern, given how stoic our head butler usually is. Or rather, it must have been concern as he takes off a glove and presses the back of his hand at my forehead before his worrisome inquiry.
I beg your pardon. What crying woman? Are you feeling well, madam?
In the cellar. Can't you hear her?
Madam Hannah, no one is down there.
What?
The cellar is locked. Only Luke and I have duplicates of the keys. Nobody is down there.
I stare at him in disbelief. But when I listen once more, I hear no crying. Tugging at the hatch for good measure prove his words to be true. Thing won't budge unless I had a key, sort of using power tools on.
Perhaps it is time for you to go to bed, madam. You are simply tired and hearing things, a perfectly normal human experience.
But
No,
it's
it's
not
not.
a perfectly human experience. What are you talking about, Johan?
But if you are still experiencing auditory hallucinations in the morning, you are free to consult with me.
Oh, are you a doctor? There is a cold feeling in the pit of my stomach as he helps me up to my feet. What he says makes sense, and who am I to question someone who used to be a doctor? That
Oh,
answers
he
my
is a
question.
doctor.
He is a doctor. Okay. What a very useful guy. I'm just tired. That's it. Long day of moving, the interview, dealing with Luke. That has all drained me of any proper sense.
Yes, I suppose you're right. I just need some sleep, that's all.
Of course I'm right.
Of course you are.
Go on then. Gute
Fiction na yun.
Nacht.
Guten Nacht. Good night. Good night yan sa German tayo. Guten Nacht.
Buti na.
Good night, Johans. Good night, house.
Oh, said good night to the house. Just fatigue. That's what I keep telling myself, although I can't ignore the strange feeling in my gut. Either there is something wrong with this house or there is something wrong with my head. Dot dot dot. Sleep will be elusive tonight. October 20.
Sobrang liwanag ng ano yun. Yung bot.
Oo nga eh. Well, I guess wala masyadong light pollution, I guess. Kasi di ba that's a thing? Light pollution. Kaya mas kita yung parang stars sa gabi pag sa provinces.
Ah,
So, I guess eh. Kasi di ba parang malayo daw to sa from the city, tapos may village, tas all the way, ito na.
parang countryside.
Yeah. Luke, already gone by the time I rise. There isn't a single hide nor hair of him to be found, and trying to call him on his mobile is a bust, as it only goes straight to his voicemail. That's twice in a row he's gone on me. And for him to disappear today of all days is every bit upsetting because of what's to come.
Oh, is it the night of the party na?
Oo, ata. 28. Yeah. Sa pagkakatanda ko, it is the party. The morning is once again filled with a whirlwind of activity. Fortunately, I am much more refreshed as I took a break from my responsibilities. I haven't the faintest clue where Luke was yesterday. Today is going to be a busy day, although unlike Wednesday, the master of the house isn't here right now. Absent once again from his duties. Need water.
Okay. Si Leong. Tsaka si Duterte.
Leon George Washington.
Oo. Star-studded pala yung mga painting nila dyan.
Nice. Ito, sino ba to? Marie Curie.
Si Queen Elizabeth.
Pwede ba? Queen Elizabeth. God save the Queen.
At say, Queen.
Hopefully, he'll be back in time for the party. Yes, it is a party. This is our house.
Pare, hour.
Insert Bugs Bunny meme. Our house. A grand housewarming party for the wonderful Wright mansion. Every person of importance from Luxbourne is invited, and there will be a few guests flying in as well. Of course, there will be some people from the media, along with friends and acquaintances who are made no less important, regardless of their status in society. Marianne and I discuss business and last-minute touches to the house before finalizing everything. Not that there is much change from our original plans. Bar any huge additions to the property itself, the mansion is nearly 100% complete.
You have certainly exceeded expectations, Marianne. Everything looks so marvelous, and in such a short time, too.
Well, I can't take all of the credit. People have certainly been enthusiastic about the idea of working on the right mansion. There won't be any more problems unless Mr. Wright has any more objections about the second bedroom.
Luke and I had a small tiff about making the second bedroom into a child's playroom, which I insisted is completely practical. In the end, he had acquiesced. I didn't give him any choice in the matter. I even bought this wonderful wooden crib from the antique store yesterday, including some toys. Just in case anyone brings their baby. Besides, we have little need for actual guest rooms. We hardly have guests spend the night. If we absolutely have to, we often choose to foot the bill for their visit on one of our hotels instead, always at Luke's own insistence. And on the off chance that we actually let someone stay, the bedroom in the opposite wing is still up to the task.
Oh, no. We proceed with that room as planned. I already agreed to him having his greenhouse and his vineyard and his stables. He may as well let me have this one thing.
Napaka-unfair eh, no? Greenhouse, vineyard, stables versus one room. The fuck?
Pero it's a gift to him kasi, so...
Oh, sabagay. You do have a point. But, sabi nga dito, our house.
Our.
I
I concede my point.
Anyway, no, I did not agree to him having a helipad.
All right then. Well, do we have any other concerns? Anything we need to put on our agenda before the party commences?
No, I don't think so. Not unless Luke has anything else to say.
Is he around then? It'd be best if we can note down his request right away, considering the scope of his usual ones.
Scope? Haba nung essay. Around? No.
Diba hindi rin na ano niya? Yung parking lot niya? Yung garage niya?
Yung garage niya.
Hindi rin pinagbigyan, diba?
Sa ano yun eh? Sa Marian chapter. Which is... after ni Zach.
After ni Zach.
Who knows where? I don't.
No, he's not around.
She didn't have to point out the obvious now, did she? After 7 long years, I'd already gotten used to him. Should be, by now. Still not, apparently.
But don't you have a party?
I want nothing more than to complain, to whinge about how unfair this is. However, airing out one's laundry is simply taboo among high society. To do so will make you a ripe target for the next dinner party chit-chat. Vultures, a lot of them, really. Or most of them, at least. There are always good ones like Rochelle Lee. But put your trust in the wrong person and you'll find yourself eagerly picked apart.
Yes. But Luke's just being a sweetie, you see. That friend he's visiting, he's having marital problems and he's just trying to cheer him up.
Perhaps I'm being a bit too rash, a bit too hot-headed in divulging details. But I thought myself clever with the plan to dress it up as gossip. Mary Ann's raised brow made me unsure whether she is interested or not. Although that does make things better if she has no interest and therefore has no hidden intent to utilize whatever I might say to her.
They've been married for a long time and they've hit how do they say it? A rough patch. His wife has a drinking problem and can be very neglectful. The poor thing really does his best to be a good husband.
Pero halatang halata na ano yun, di ba? Ipinag-uusapan niyo sila, di ba?
But
no.
it's
Wait
never
lang.
enough for her.
Ano mo nga sa logs?
Hmm?
Ilagay mo nga sa logs.
Hmm.
His wife has a drinking problem and can be very neglectful. The poor thing really does his best to be a good husband. Parang may mali.
Hindi, tama. Kasi di ba, he is, tinatago niya as gossip yung thing. Ito
Oo
yung,
nga.
binaliktad
Pero
lang
tingnan
niya.
mo.
In sa story niya ngayon, or sa gossip na sinasabi niya, yung wife yung may drinking problem, and yung husband, yung parang mabait sa relationship. Yung parang binaliktad lang niya yung sitwasyon.
Okay, gets. Okay, sorry. Medyo slow.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Sometimes I think it's the years. Maybe it's been so long that they've lost that romantic spark. What do you think?
You were asking for my personal opinion on the matter, ma'am? Do you want me to be honest, or...
A choice. A choice.
Parang naglolo ko yung... There's something wrong with my house. Parang naglag yung mouse score or something. And don't you have it?
Baka may ano sa ilalim. Check mo ilalim ng mouse mo. Baka may naka...
Ay, chinek ko nga.
Or
Wala
yung sa
na.
mousepad mo.
Check ko rin yung mousepad ko. Anyway. So I want her to be honest. I don't know if it makes the thingy go down eh. So, be honest with me makes it go up. So, to be sure. Be honest.
Be honest with me, Marianne. I don't need someone to sugarcoat it.
Yes, best grill.
Let's grill.
I'm not some fragile thing that I'm just going to break down at the slightest thing.
He hesitates. COVID. He hesitates, taking a sip of her coffee while I stare into my own cup of tea. The silence stretches on, and I almost believe that she will never answer my question. I suppose that I shouldn't blame her, putting her in a tight spot like this. Her hesitation is understandable, though I loathe it. Though I loathe to admit it, he simply wants this whole thing to stay professional. But then she speaks.
If I'm going to be completely honest, I need to ask. This is about you and Mr. Wright, isn't it?
My turn to hesitate now. I really didn't expect such a straightforward question. And to get to the heart of the matter, I suppose I'm not as clever as I'd like to think. Or is it really that bad that an outsider can see our little marital troubles? Surely we aren't that obvious, are we? We've put up the act of a perfect couple for years, although it hadn't always been an act. Marianne is just more keen than the average person, of course. It's a necessity to her career, and she's been working so closely with us. Yes, that's it.
Suppose it is. What
No,
would
it's
you
not.
tell me?
No, it's not.
Then I tell you it's none of my business. I tell you that I don't want to meddle. But if the troubled husband with the neglectful wife asked me for my honest opinion, I'd say that he shouldn't base his happiness and his self-worth on someone else.
Don't know.
Yun.
Strong, independent.
Someone who won't even give him the time of the day. Maybe he should try being independent for a while. See what it's like when he isn't trying to please someone else and doing things for himself. Everyone's supposed to be their own man or woman, right? A bit of breathing room never hurt anyone. That's just my 2 pence worth, of course.
2 pence worth.
So you're saying they should divorce?
Oops. Nadudulas. Mabubuking, pare.
Nothing
That's
as
so clever,
drastic as that. If they're afraid that it might lead to just that, then maybe that is what's meant to happen in the first place. We shouldn't let our fear control our lives. But it's just a short hiatus is all. Or, couples therapy? Look, I'm really not the best person to ask about relationships. So grain of salt and all that.
Yan din yung sinabi ng dalawa.
Kung ano?
short hiatus. Yun din yung sabi ng dalawa eh. Hindi na bumalik.
Ano short hiatus yun? Ano short yan? She trails off, having said her piece, and leaves nothing but the smell of coffee and Earl Grey between us. There is a calm despite the nature of what has just been discussed. To say that her words make me start to think is an understatement. To say that I'm not considering her advice is a lie. And to say that this might just be the calm before the storm is a possibility. Others have had shorter marriages, yes, but plenty have celebrated long and happy ones as well. My own parents celebrated their choral anniversary before they passed away. Ano yung ano ulit? Choral
Ano yung choral?
anniversary?
Hindi ko rin alam sa chatting. Wait lang.
Alright, Google it. Choral anniversary.
Oh.
30, what was it? 35th.
35th ako. 35th.
Why is it
Meron
called?
pala, no?
Why? Why is it
Bakit
called choral
choral?
though? Wait lang.
Oh, traditionally, the 35th wedding anniversary is marked in both the UK and US with a gift of coral.
But still.
However, as this is now endangered, often the color coral is substituted instead, with its symbolic meaning of longevity and successfulness. Oh, so that's it. So it's a tradition na ano, parang you give a gift na coral.
Yung pala yun.
Pero I didn't know na endangered na mga coral.
Yes, endangered na yung mga corals. Kasi ano yun eh, alam ko naging isa sa mga reasons kung ba't siya endangered kasi yung, alam mo yung dynamite fishing?
Muruami pare, muruami.
Yan. Oh, yan. Inisip ko rin yung term eh. Yan. Pero yan, yung muruami. Sumasabog yung mga corals and you know,
So saan nakatira yung mga isda? Di ba yun yung bahay ng mga isda? Coral.
yes, some of the fish live there. And ayun nga, if it blows up, they, you know, go out to the open water and then, sabog, fishies. Right.
Naman, sumisira ng bahay pa.
Why? Kaya ano eh,
Kung, ano yun? Wrecking ball.
homewrecker. Anyway, and but 7 years isn't a whole lot in the grand scheme of things. It isn't a whole lot of time to see what and where our relationship can bring us. And at the same time, 7 years, well, it hasn't been entirely made up of unhappy years, has it? It won't last forever, it's not supposed to, anyway. I just dread the thought that it might last for a very long time. I dread the thought that these small spats, these little disagreements, will turn into an all-out resentment. The idea that we will grow to hate each other with every fiber of our being scares me. I can't even pinpoint the exact moment when our blissful union turned sour. Oh. Branching. Or did we... Yeah, no.
Oh. Tapos sa baba. Tapos sa pala. Bakit eh?
We can get through this, right? I know that I still do love him, and I feel that there is still a part of him that loves me in return. We just need to get our heads together and talk it out. Surely he will see some sense. Ano eh, yung me patting me.
Okay.
Hindi nabasa. There is a cough before Marianne clears her throat. I must have been quiet for so long, and I move to apologize when she stands up. We both end up on our feet, unsure how to proceed. Some sort of odd, awkward shuffle occurs as we decide whether to sit back down or not.
I really should handle what's left of the work.
Ang awkward nun, gago.
Oh, pupunta tayo.
Tayo na.
You won't be attending the party? Oh, you really must, Marianne.
I'll try to stay and chat. Maybe grab a few bites and a drink, but I can't be around for the entirety of the event. My apologies.
Boys.
Busy, busy, busy.
You must stay a while. I'd love for you to meet some of my friends, and they're ever so excited to meet you.
Pagkakatanda ko, ito si Marian. Ano siya? Irish ata siya. Tapos si Rebecca. Scottish.
Scottish si Rebecca.
Yeah.
You need to say hello to the Lees, at least. If it
Sobrang
wasn't for
diverse
them,
nila eh.
I'd never even heard of you.
Sobrang diverse nila eh, no?
Oo.
May Pinay, may Asian,
May black guy.
may
I'm
black
guessing-
guy, may British.
Sabihin na lang natin
Scottish.
din si Zach. Around, siguro ano siya, African American, I guess. Yun, di ba?
Ay,
Safe to assume.
ah,
Yeah. Si Luke, I'm guessing he's European.
feeling ko, or,
Ito si Hannah, she's British.
British yun. British.
Nasa journal. So, yeah, she is British. No! Undiscovered entry.
No!
We can't cheat.
We'll see. So, if I can be excused?
Certainly. You'll have to excuse me as well. I must attend to the party before any early birds arrive. Because, believe me, they will throw a fuss if things aren't ready, even when they're not supposed to be here until an hour later.
Wait. If I remember correctly, di ba merong... best grill.
Basically,
Ganda drawing dito eh. If I remember correctly, di ba dapat may parang choice, I guess, na parang it's either we threaten Marian na wag siyang magsalita or, play it cool.
siguro, ano? Naalala ko yun.
Naalala ko rin yun eh.
Baka pag it's
Maybe
baka dahil
dito?
sa butterfly.
Up here. Dito siguro yan. Kasi bumaba tayo, di ba?
Sa taas siguro.
Anyway. Pag I'm not sure. The scene outside the parlor is a great organized mess. Aside from our own household help, we hired the service of the temp agency, which provides staff for Right Enterprise in the hospitality sector. Even our very skilled staff cannot undertake a party of this size on their own. Waiters, busboys, hostesses, and their staff captains move about in droves, carrying crockery and serveware good for several dozen people and then some. Chefs and bartenders tail after Johans, looking like scared little children as he escorts them through the kitchen and into the wine cellar. To peruse the stocks to select what can be served at the party and what can be used for cooking.
Schnell! We have a lot to do, and I believe we did not hire snails. Snails
Snail.
are for the dishes.
Snails are for the dishes. Nakakain ka na ba ng snail?
Hindi pa, boy. Ikaw ba?
No, I don't remember. Pero meron dati na parang yun eh. Yung naalala mo sila Kuya Frank, 'di ba, yung bilyaran sa Lourdes? Yun. 'Di ba dati yung bilyaran nandun sa bahay nila, tapos parang nalipat sila sa may kawayan, parang ganoon. Yan, naalala ko yun yung last time na pumunta ako dun. Tapos kasama ko si Antips, nakatambay kami dun. Tapos may pinakain sa amin sila Kuya Frank na parang maliliit lang siya na shell na parang kailangan mong...
Suso?
Ano?
Suso.
Hindi, yung kailangan mo ng toothpick to get the thing out. Maliit lang yun eh. As in, sobrang liit na shell lang. I'm
Oo.
not sure if that is a snail or what. Yun ba yun?
Hindi snail yun.
Okay, so
Ah,
it's not.
Iba pa yun, suso. Hindi ko alam English ng suso. Pero iba pa yun eh.
Boobs.
Like, parang,
Boob.
parang pointed yung ano niya.
Oo, parang yun. Oo.
Ah,
Yun.
hindi ko
Basta,
alam English. So,
anyway, if it's not a snail, then, you know. So I haven't eaten a snail. A string quartet readies up to play for the evening, tuning their instruments as they fill the air with idle chatter. Floral decor worth thousands fill vases, wreaths, and baskets, while petals are scattered along the driveway up front. Hey, look at that shit.
the deer.
An
The
ice.
ice deer.
Oh, the ice deer. An ice sculpture of a reindeer is brought in carefully by a pair. It is followed by a simple cake, just a 5-tier white chiffon one, with white chocolate mousse, fresh berries, and a light dusting of edible gold leaf. Simple lang yan sa kanila, bro. Wow, simple cake, nice. But despite the fact that I told Marianne how I will attend to all of this, I find myself unable to focus or care for any of it. I still have our discussion running in my mind, and looking at all of this, I only see Luke everywhere. These are all the grand things that Luke wanted to have for the party. I had wanted a small, elegant, and simple gathering with only a select few invited, namely the people who I would actually trust to enter my home. I did not want any bloody politicians or paparazzi in here, no matter how used I am to catering them.
At least be here for your party. Damn it, Luke.
The entire thing screamed Luke right. And I can't help but add another question to my growing list of queries. When did I lose myself? It's always about him nowadays, isn't it? What about Hannah Wright? What about Hannah Evans? I used to be my own woman, who made her own name, her own career, and her own decisions. Her, I was already the social butterfly that I still am today, but I wasn't all empty, shallow gossip, and sitting pretty. I was also lauded for my knowledge and talent. Finance manager wasn't just handed to me just because my father owned the company. I had insisted that I start at the bottom, so I could work my way to the top and prove myself. And I did. I worked numbers, managed budgets, money and accounts, analyzing the competition and market trends. There was the calculation of financial risk, cost reduction opportunities, auditor liaison and public relations, supervision of staff, and, well, I generally had a huge slew of responsibilities. Admittedly, I was already quite the attention seeker even back then, having dedicated most of my youth craving for my parents' approval. Failing that, I turned to others, looked for praise from anyone who would give it, however fleeting it all was. Papansin pala to si ano eh. Si Hana eh. And Luke, oh Luke, the way he looked at me, the way he watched me and took a genuine interest. He had me disgustingly obsessed since day one, hasn't he? Risking Luke.
Risking.
Tommy for me, Hannah Evans, with both my faults and my achievements. The man didn't treat me like some damsel in distress or some prize to be won. I remember the nights before we were married, where we talked about everything and anything. From big things like business, society, and philosophy, to little things such as what we had for breakfast or whether we liked cats or dogs more. We both prefer dogs. Nowadays, I'm just Luke Wright's wife. Ikaw ba, bro? Dogs or cats?
Both sides. Mahilig sa pusa.
Dogs?
Yes, dogs.
Bakit dogs?
Ayoko sa pusa.
Okay, fair enough. Yes, same
Kasi-
din naman. It's not that I
Ano-
hate
ano-
cats.
Alam ko nakwento ko sa inyo yun dati na hindi talaga ako mahilig sa pusa. Like,
Talaga.
ano ba? I can't stand cats. It's not that I hate them, I just can't stand them. Like, I find them annoying.
Diba? Ako naman, dog person talaga. I prefer dogs. Pero, ayun din. I don't hate cats. I'm okay with cats. Kaya nga, di ba sa bilyaran yung random cat dati na laging nandun nakatambay.
Oo.
Yung laging yung umaano sa thing. Yung sa binti natin. May one time pa nga, hindi ko lang kung nandun ka nun. Kasi ano na ako nun eh. Siyempre, di ba, nag-iim tayo sa bilyaran. Tapos, nakatulog ako. Alam mo na, pag natulog ako, nakahiga ako dun sa bench or what. Nakahiga ako dun sa bench, sa wooden bench. Tapos yung puta, umaano sa mukha ako, gago. Umaano siya, tumatabi sa mukha ko, umiga sa dibdib ko. Tapos tinatanggal ko lang, tapos tulog ulit ako. Tapos babalik na siya, babalik. And, I did not become like very aggressive to the cat na hinabol ko ng palo. Hindi. Hinayaan ko lang siya. Anyway. Yun lang yun.
Ako, iiwas ako. Pero pag makulit, sorry guys, pero I would kick it.
God. Cat people out there, I can hear them. Blasphemy! Time! Burn that guy to the stake.
I am sorry, pero wala eh.
Well, it's it's a preference thing. Yun lang naman. It's mostly my fault, isn't it? They told me that husbands preferred wives who are docile, and subordinate. A woman will always be there for him, yet would never outshine him in all aspects except beauty. A wife needs to be at home and attend to his needs, to have children and to take care of them in his absence. They said I have no business working anymore after I was married. I can blame society. Yes, blame society. Society's fault. But I listened. Before I can fall further into this introspective pit of self-loathing, someone calls for my attention.
The guests have arrived, madam.
And Luke?
Running a bit late, I'm afraid.
Late for his own party. That man, I swear. He's probably looking to make a dramatic entrance, knowing him. Open the doors then. We mustn't tarry.
Cars line up the driveway, peppering the front of the mansion with vehicles of every kind. Grand tourers, supercars, and even the odd high-end muscle car or two. Convertibles, grand saloons, and other luxury cars can be seen parked by valets. A handful of cabs drive off, possibly for those who thought it's too troublesome to bring their own cars. There are at least 2 different media vans as well. They're all here for what may be considered the biggest event of the year for Luxembourg. So far. Who knows what we'll plan for the winter holidays?
Welcome everyone. Please make yourselves at home.
Some of the guests idle, enjoying the warm, if not strange, sunshine we're experiencing, before gloomy skies inevitably return. They greet acquaintances and friends with warm smiles, others less so. From where I stand, I can see the hierarchy of power, the ties that bind these individuals here, whether through convenience or necessity. However, there are also few who are not here to further cement their current place in high society, such as that young man with his oriental air, ignorant of the looks he receives from women and men alike.
Bakit?
Sa akin.
Anong meron sa kanya? Gago, drip nga eh, boy. Anong meron? Ba't siya pinagtitinginan? Like, it's not
Pogi.
that his...
Pogi siya, pare.
Akala ko...
Mag-pogi yun.
akala ko pinag-aanuhan siya eh. Ano
Hindi
ba?
naman.
Dinidiscriminate yung suot niya.
Ano daw, no? He attracts women and men alike, but even femboys, di ba?
Be careful with Shirley, alright?
Or maybe looks like parang yung alam mo yung hindi siya belong sa crowd kasi high society di ba? And you know, parang yung suot niya siguro it's not as extravagant compared sa mga suot ng ibang tao, di ba? Event. Parang ganun siguro.
What do you mean? He's wearing fur, pare. Naka-fur siya, pare. That's
Yun nga eh,
extravagant.
Malay mo yung sa mga ibang tao sa like super furred up. Like hanggang dito pati ito yung I think this is the lapel, it's what you call it.
I do not see your mouse pare.
Oh shit. Ito yung yung from the chest down. Yung parang may collar thing, yung big collar. I think that's the lapel. It's called the lapel. Malay mo yung sa iba may collar hanggang dyan, di ba? Ay, may collar, may fur.
Or is it, or I guess it's the chains pa. May chains kasi.
Pwede. May chain siya. Parang uso yan nung high school yung chain tas yung wallet, di ba?
Wallet.
Kaya na. Or that rose-haired woman talking on her phone while she looks unsure of why she is here exactly.
Yes, I'm at the party already, Mom. Yes, I'll say hi to her if I can.
You know, I see Zachary, the photographer, as well. He talks to a few of the other media crew with an air of familiarity.
I was just here a few days ago, yeah. And the inside is huge, but the staff are pretty helpful if you get lost.
I had invited Father Norman too. We went up.
Oh.
It's the least I can do after he blessed the mansion on my request. Aside from my small donation to the church, of course. But the poor man had taken ill and went through a nervous breakdown of some sort the other day. I think that's the ghost thing, maybe hunted the priest. Kasi diba, he blessed the mansion. And lo and behold, he was like, you know, nervous breakdown. Bro, he saw the ghost. Like, holy shit, Taina. The ghost is too powerful for my holy water.
Ano pa saan na pa yun? Di ba? Ipapakita. Ano yung chapter doon? I think kay Zach.
Yung yung priest.
Oo.
Pagkakalala ko kasi sa playthrough mo, hindi natin hindi natin na-meet yung priest di ba? Kasi
Kasi yung professor.
pinili natin professor. But sa pagkakatanda ko, there is this one time na, mamimit mo yung priest, pero hindi sa Zachary chapter, na kay Ashton chapter na yun. And of course, I won't spoil what will happen there. Pero, basta. Pero, naman natin. Sa tingin ko, there's a high chance na maano natin yung scene na yun, kasi, ayun minention na yung minention na si father na nag-nervous breakdown So it's either yun nga, pwedeng ma-meet natin kay Zach or kay Ashton. We'll see. And then, there are people like the chief inspector. People who I can never be too sure about. People who stand on the border between being suspicious and being trustworthy.
Thank you for the invite, Anna. Husband still missing, I see?
Wait, hindi ba siya nagtataka ito si Chief Inspector? Kasi katrabaho niya si Ash. Siya yung boss ni Ash. Hindi ba siya nagtataka na, uy, bakit ka nandito? Di ba?
Baka hindi ko sila nakikita.
Possibly.
I should be saying the same of your darling Rochelle, Lee. The doctors again.
She told me she'll just be in the gardens. Bet she's lying and that she's somewhere around mingling, gossiping with the other ladies.
You know, Marites. Kiki Marites yung asawa ni Mish.
It's no offense, but that seems to be all you ladies do at these parties.
And aren't you gossiping right now?
Ooh. Uno reverse. Our move, Uno reversed.
Yes, well, what about Luke? Should we file a missing persons report now, or do you want to wait 24 hours?
He's around.
You know, I can tell if someone's bluffing. Don't tell me, let me guess. He's finally drunken himself to death and not wanting a scandal, you've hidden his body. I was wanting to give this housewarming gift to him personally, too. It's a plate that holds a wine glass so he can stop killing himself with liquid lunches. Looks like it's too late for that.
Nothing like that. Besides, this is a hardly polite conversation.
Oh, relax, I'm just trying to be cheeky to lighten the mood. It's not like I want Luke dead. The man doesn't serve dodgy plonk like the others when I visit, and he pays his respects well enough. I could use a glass of wine or 3, actually. Rochelle's been in a horrid mood. Threw her stilettos at me the other day and almost took an eye out. Not sure if this is how it usually goes, but I blame the pregnancy.
Yes, the pregnancy.
Bigla.
Binato ng kilos.
I wouldn't know, would I?
Still no plans for a baby? I guess that's for the best. If it's this bad now, I can't even imagine how bad it'll be when that little baby bump becomes huge.
Have I mentioned how I don't trust him, no matter how hard I try to do so? At least he brought a gift, I suppose.
Why don't you just go inside and have some wine, Lee?
Think I will, thanks.
Greetings such as these carry on as the guests continue to trickle in. Whether we have short conversations of merely shake hands and nod heads, I make sure to attend and welcome each of them. As the first hour passes by, the rest of the stragglers and I adjourn to the ballroom. Any latecomers will have the attention of the porter instead. I have other duties to attend to now. Hosting parties is always the same old song and dance, no matter how big or small it is. With that, bro, yung babaeng naka-blue sa corner left, I'm sorry.
Cake.
Yeah, she got cake, bro, she got cake. Yeah, that this one got, boobies. You make sure your guests are well fed, have good company, and have them generally enjoy themselves. When my opening remarks are done, when the band has started to play and the guests have started eating, I find myself wandering around aimlessly unless I am pulled aside. Wala. Water. Need to keep hydrated, bro. Yeah. For a while, I stay with a small group and entertain them before excusing myself. And when they're not anymore watching me, I end up watching them. When they don't listen, I do. A local banker is having trouble with his daughter. He wishes to marry her off, but she wants nothing more but to make music. One of our hotel managers worry about the stolen belongings of one of his patrons, a failing in security which should be brought up to higher authority soon. Our mayor, well, his cat died. Patay yung pusa ni Mayor. Then there's that rose-haired woman once again. It is hard not to notice her, with her distinctive locks. She also lacks the grace that the other ladies have, though that does not make her any less beautiful. Her stance and the air she exudes instead are strong, and they make her stand out despite her casual attire. Many men have already given her their attention, though each invitation to dance has been turned down. I approach, intrigued, although it is no great mystery that what occupies her own attention, with the glances she keeps sending towards the boy with the oriental hair. She remains unaware though, even as I stand beside her pretending that I'm there for a drink.
You would catch his eye a lot better if you wore nicer clothes, don't you think?
Didn't realize the housewarming was
Hey,
going to
Jiggy.
be this
Jiggy.
fancy. I would have gone with a nice dress if I knew.
Oh, you're fine, dearie. It's only really the parvenu, those who climb, that come to these parties all dolled up.
Parvenu? Sabi ng parvenu. I shall see. Parvenu. A person of obscure origin who has gained wealth, influence, or celebrity.
Ah,
Mga biglang sikat pa lang.
mga inahon.
Oo.
Quite the black-haired beauty, isn't he?
The boy comes over, but I do nothing to speak any softer. He merely passes by, and it is a wonder he doesn't hear what I say.
Who, Ash?
You know, you really shouldn't have turned down those offers. If I wasn't married, I'd happily go dancing with those young men. But you said a name. Ash. That's the exquisite lad you've been looking at all this time. I don't know him, and I'm the one hosting this party. That must mean you know each other. Is he your boyfriend then? Because that would explain those rejections.
Passive bitch.
Passive.
Pero sa ano mo,
Hindi
di
ba
ba?
yan-
Ano yun?
Di ba yan yung necklace na nahanap niya o iba pa yun?
Hindi, iba pa yun. Ito yung part of the ocean. Yung suot niya talaga.
Oo nga pala, oo nga pala.
Pero,
Ayos na.
di ba yung sa playthrough mo, iba yung necklace niya dito?
Oo, alam ko nakuha na niya yung necklace nun.
Oo, na iba ng ibang necklace yung suot niya dito.
Iba na.
In all my life, I have never seen a face grow red so fast. The shade of her hair did not help as well. This is the most pink I've seen on a person, really.
What? No, that's ridiculous. He isn't my boyfriend.
Such a violent reaction. A simple no would have sufficed. Many here would be happy to hear it.
And I haven't been looking at him.
That's right. You've been staring. Quite heatedly, in fact. Although I'm not sure if you look like you want to kiss him or kill him.
It's more the latter currently.
Just don't go murdering him on my property. I don't want to walk into a room and suddenly find a body there.
I waver as I feel the burning of someone's stares. It's chilling, and though I'm used to enduring the gaze of others, this one makes the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. It is chilling, and though I'm used to Putang ina, nabasa ko na pala. I'm sorry. My attention is pulled from the girl, and I see a woman staring. Dark-haired and dirty, she looks more like a beggar than a guest, and I have half the mind to call the security at her when her mouth breaks out into a grin. All I hear is her laughing, haunting. Her stare makes my blood run cold. She looks at me like I'm nothing but a pig to slaughter for her amusement. It makes my hand shake and I nearly drop my drink. But then, in a blink, she's gone. The buzz of the party returns.
I'll keep that in mind, but are you all right?
Yes, sorry. I just thought I saw something strange. It must be the trick of the light.
The lights must be the lights.
Anyway,
Opium.
on a right, as you must already know.
Rebecca Gales.
Rebecca again.
Gales.
The name is familiar, like a fond memory. I recall a kind lady, a private tutor, who treated me like her own daughter when I was young. She'd even bring me food when there was no need to do so. Usually stovies, which I honestly hadn't been too keen about, though I ate them nonetheless because she brought them for me.
Oh, the professor! And your little Becky!
My parents couldn't make it since they're in Scotland right now. And Mom says hi, by the way. But yeah, that's me. Little Becky. We met once before.
Yes, oh, I remember you! You were the cutest little thing with glasses! And when we met, you were having boy troubles with this lad called something with an A. What was it again? Aaron, Alan, Adele, Albert, Alexander, Andrew?
The more I list off names, the more red and the more quiet Becky gets. She starts to look a bit miserable as her body language shows discomfort and stiffness. Perhaps I have triggered a horrid childhood memory. Surely I hadn't been mean when she visited with her mother. I don't quite remember all of it.
Ashton! Ash! That man is that boy! The same one.
That man is that boy!
Oh, goodness me, after all these years! I can see why, though. He's quite dashing.
You don't really need to announce it to everyone within earshot, you know? Keep it.
I'm so sorry,
Oh,
but
fuck.
it really is cute.
Di pa siya tapos magsalita. Shit.
You don't really need to announce it to everyone within earshot, you know? Keep it down.
And a tad bit sad.
So, this is a nice party, Miss Wright.
Please, Anna's fine. We're friends of a sort, aren't we? We must be friends, seeing as I know about your little infatuation, Becky. Don't you worry, dearie. You'll have your happy ending yet.
I'm not too concerned about that, am I? That's not what I'm looking for.
Oh? And what makes you think that? Doesn't everybody want their happy ending?
The idea of happy endings sounds like they're just for fairy tales. And they are, sorta. I don't think you can just sit around, trapped in some tower and hope for the best. If you love them, you have to fight for it, right?
Ito yun, no? Hypocrite.
Oh,
Si Rebecca, hypocrite. Kasi nasabi niya ngayon na, yun nga, di ba? Pero hindi niya, he doesn't follow what she preach, bro.
hindi niya pinaglalaban pa.
Oo nga, nahayaan lang. Grab.
You're not just going to sit there and hope that everything will just fix itself on its own. Like everything, you have to work at it.
Not like you, I guess. You're not working for it.
But what do I know?
Yeah, what do you know? No jack shit, Becky. There is a grimace, although she starts to relax around my presence. How long has it been since we met as children? Certainly a long time. She was tiny back then, if I recall correctly.
I'm sure the daughter of the two greatest professors I've ever known is smart enough to know what she's talking about. But have you told him how you feel? And it's been what? 20 years?
17, actually.
17 years.
17
Wala
years
kang
old.
ginagawa. Gago. Tang ina.
But no, not yet. He can be a bit dense. I was hoping that maybe he'd notice on his own and.
Well, that won't do. What if you two become husband and wife? He's not to be dense when he's sworn himself to another person. Why, you might just as well consider leaving before the day's even begun.
If that happens, I'll have to give him a good ear bashing, won't I? Whoever anyone ends up with, it's not going to be a perfect relationship anyway. There's going to be things you'll love and things you'll hate about the other person. We're just humans. It's funny. Here I am, trying to give you advice when you did the very same thing back then. I remember you giving me a makeover when we were still kids, and you were the first I told anyone about my crush.
Fuck.
Sinari ko sa ilang mo.
Wala. I'm choking on my vape. I do remember now that she mentions it. Did I give her that yellow summer dress or the pink blouse and petticoat? You must have kept some of what I said in mind. It feels ridiculous remembering all of that years later, talking about boys and how they go crazy for pretty girls, as if it's some gospel every woman should adhere to. It was so easy to say such things then, with me not knowing any better. Though looking at her now, she must have kept some of what I said in mind. Perhaps I did say something good at that time, enough for her to take it to heart. But all that didn't matter in the moment as I mull over what she's just said in my head. What Becky told me is very different from what Marianne told me. There is no time to ponder over that, however, as a hush descends upon the once lively crowd. The music of strings and the chatter slows to a grinding halt as the doors from the foyer opens. The last of the latecomers should have arrived moments ago, and anyone else this late would simply be too embarrassed to show their face. So this can only be one person, or rather, one man. There is only one man who is audacious enough to arrive at his own party so late.
Good evening, ladies and gents. Enjoying the party? I hope I'm not too late in welcoming you all to the right mansion.
Unlike I, who was raised in the spotlight and simply grew used to its presence, he sought it out every chance he could, even when there was no spotlight that shone. And I'll never put it against him when he smiles like that. He did so quite brilliantly under the scrutiny when he channels his showmanship. You can tell by the way people's eyes light up as he speaks, how they listen, enraptured, even if all he's doing is a simple greeting. A little wave of his hands here, a little smile there, and a bit of swagger. I always... Swaggy! I always tell him that, if he's not to be a businessman, he'll do well as an entertainer. I love this side of him, especially when he looks at me, and he beckons me over to humbly share his place. Not a single second is wasted as I excuse myself from Becky's side and I make my way to Luke's.
Welcome, one and all, to our humble abode. Tonight, if you have yet to find yourself in your roles, you are our ladies and lords of the court of your king and queen, if you would excuse my presumptuousness. So, enjoy the feast that has been laid out for your senses as we only allowed the best to be served. Enjoy the rest of your night, everyone!
There's a round of applause, cheers, and even some hoots. Guests approach us left and right to shake Luke's hand and greet him personally, phrases on their lips. It is because of this that I do not see her. I do not see her until she is dangerously close with fury in her eyes and she's already spitting venom.
Pare.
Drama, drama.
Drama pa.
Johannes restrains her, taking care not to unnecessarily harm the pregnant woman.
May ano pa, yung,
Oo nga. Hey, it's the cake.
oh, the reindeer.
Nasaan tayo? Yeah, we're here. But that does little to deter her rage, and the man has no choice but to let her go, lest an unborn child is hurt. Although it might be too late for that, as I see an emptied glass of wine in her hand. How much has she imbibed in?
Are you feeling ill, Rochelle? Perhaps you need to sit down and...
No! Shut it, you munter! I ain't talking to you! I'm talking to this scumbag over here! You bloody bastard standing there with your smarmy smile!
She interrupts me, jabbing her finger in my direction before she rounds on Luke. Even as whispers and murmurs break out among the guests, all I can focus on is the heat of the moment.
Gagustig yung mata niya.
Nino.
Ni Hano.
Bakit?
Gumagalaw.
Oo nga eh. Ma-up and down. Obviously intoxicated, judging by the smell of alcohol on her breath. I'm not ticked off about this little display of hers, at least not yet. But I'm absolutely pissed by the fact that she'd endanger her own baby by drinking. There is a considerable amount of restraint and grace that I must exercise while I wait for her tantrum to subside. I keep a patient, if tight smile on my face. Luke's expression, on the other hand, is indecipherable.
Watch your tongue! You're on thin ice, Rochelle. Where's your husband? Who even invited you?
You. The disgust in his tone.
I did.
And I told you with great emphasis not to. Now we have a drunk, hormonal, pregnant woman causing a stir. What is even going on?
I'm just about to ask that exact same thing.
I don't know. But Rochelle, do calm down before you hurt yourself. I can't understand a word you're saying.
Where is that husband of yours? Lee! Collect your wife right now!
Parang ano yun, no? Parang aso lang eh. Collect your wife! Collect your dog!
Don't you fucking talk like I'm not here and you're not responsible, you ass! You told me that I should wait for you in the gardens!
Excuse me? What is this nonsense you're going on about?
Crazy talk! That's all it is! Just completely and utterly mad! Has anyone seen the Chief Inspector?
I am pregnant with your little bastard!
Oh.
You promised me you'll take responsibility.
Oh my god!
Oh my god! Pare, you!
God damn it, Luke! I finally got you to talk to me after months of silence, and you do this to me!
What? What?
What do you mean you're pregnant with... Luke, is this true?
Lies and slander, woman!
Blasphemy!
Security! Johannes, take her out of here before she makes an even bigger fool of herself!
No, you do not do this to me! I was so ready to leave my stupid oaf of a husband. I told you to leave that damn wife of yours. Look at her. Does she look like she wants a baby? Does she look like she could take care of a baby?
Barber.
Baby. Are we updated? Where have we gone? We've gone the bottom path. Longer. Oh, there's QTE here.
Oh, wow. What?
Sure. Anyway, let's go on. Let's see what that QTE is.
Ah, shh.
But
Sige, go on.
they surround her and move to escort the hysterical woman. Judging by his pale face, he has heard the whole thing, and I feel nothing but pity for the man.
I'm so sorry for her behavior. She's been under a lot of stress. And the alcohol. Talking nonsense, that's all it is. You're not allowed to drink because of the baby, Shelley. What are you thinking?
Nothing to see here, people. Move along.
Is there really nothing here but the ramblings of a drunk? Yes, that's right. There's no way that what Rochelle says is the truth. What she says doesn't match up. I know Luke. If such a scandalous meeting are to be arranged, he won't do it in such an exposed place, especially not near his precious flowers. And he definitely won't promise responsibility over a child unless it can be helped. Besides, Luke will never go so far as to sleep with another woman, right? Okay, fine. Who am I kidding? If I'm to be completely honest with myself, he might cheat. With a bit of temptation and a bit of alcohol, he just might. And doesn't that just make my blood boil to even think of the slightest possibility of infidelity? Lee isn't too far off when he told me how Luke still acted like some young hotshot bachelor. It starts to make me think. Oh, a choice.
Wait lang, maglalagaw lang ako. Do not choose yan.
Okay.
Right, last shift na ngayon, no? Last shift na natin ngayon.
Yes, it's Friday. Well, Saturday na.
Saturday.
Yeah, you know.
It's GG.
Break.
Oh, break.
We must put this in the negative. But I did save it though.
Nice.
Yeah, relationship status. Boom. Rock bottom.
Possible kayang maano yun, ma-completely zero out yun.
Yun ang hindi ako sure. I guess ngayon hindi na kasi konti na matapos na eh. Maybe Marianne had a point. If I'm frustrated, if I'm unhappy, maybe a break is needed. Sometime apart might be just what the doctor ordered. Time apart to clear our heads and to think for ourselves, or for myself to be exact. Because looking at this mess before me just brings me nothing but distress. I feel a bit nauseous actually, now that I think about it. Luke's too busy making a scene to notice, and a concerned Becky pulls me to the side. He looks as disturbed as I am by this sudden turn of events. Probably not a big fan of drama. Definitely not used to it, at any rate. Not surprising, as her parents were lovely yet simple people.
Hey, I figured you could use the save. You looked like you weren't doing too hot back there. Do we need to call a doctor or something?
Oh no, I'll just be needing some fresh air, that's all. Some help getting out of here would be much appreciated.
And?
Para saan yung doktor?
I don't know, maybe, I don't know.
Sure, that won't be a problem. I wanted to get away from this drama too anyway. Hey, Zachary! Hey, Zach!
At the mention of his name, I can't help but seek him out in the crowd as he makes his way over. They know each other?
Becca, this is a real hey, Miss Wright.
If I am to assign a random number to dictate the odds of having two of my acquaintances know each other, I'll say the odds are 1 out of 1,000. And if this is any other situation, I would have been suspicious. It isn't completely impossible to have two random strangers who I've met on separate occasions to know each other in what will be complete random happenstance. It's just that it's been faked before to try and dupe me because of who I am and who I am married to. But right now, coincidence or not, I'm just grateful for the help. As long as this doesn't turn out into a kidnapping, anyway.
Hello, Zachary. I told you to call me Hannah. Did I not?
Yeah, you did. So, this is what you called me for? We gonna get Hana out of here?
I can see that they're friends. Not terribly close ones, but friends nonetheless.
That'd be great.
They make quick work of getting us through the crowd. The people part because of Zach's broad build, and even if they want to approach me. That isn't enough, Becky's pointed glares keep them at bay.
Teamwork. Teamwork, para teamwork.
Come on. We even make it out of the ballroom without any untoward incident. Though, judging by the commotion in the other room, the same cannot be said about the unexpected eviction. I really do need the fresh air. I need to be away from those nosy Parkers. I need to be away from Luke. This is a good start as any.
Hey, I gotta go back in there. Completely forgot my bag like an airhead, and I'll see if I can tag Ash on the way out. You'll be fine here, right, Hannah?
Not to worry, dearie. I'll just be right here.
Zach will be with you if you need anything.
Becky balks at the idea of going back into the ballroom. Anyone who hasn't yet would have realized I am gone by now. And those busybodies will be gossiping about how I left the building with two unknowns. Along with what just transpired, stories both inaccurate and made up will spread by the night's end. It all matters very little in the grand scheme of things, of course. I won't even bother to try and quell them by returning to the fray. That leaves me with...
Zachary?
Yeah, you need something?
I was only going to say how nice it is to see you again.
Oh, okay.
I can see the... Ano?
Final reaction yun. Nice to see you. Oh, okay.
Awkward though, awkward. I can see the tension in the line of his shoulders. Odd how awkward he is when this isn't our first meeting. We had met on professional terms, certainly, but I'd like to think I was friendly. Nonetheless, I do not push the issue about the apparent discomfort when we were left alone. Not right away, at any rate. I know my curiosity will get the better of me soon. Before I can say anything, however, he speaks up.
You okay there, Hana? I mean, of course you're not okay after what happened in there. I mean, that was terrible. But you're not gonna just fall down and faint or anything, right?
I'm fine. Thank you for your concern.
A beat.
I should be asking you the same thing. I remember you being a lot more eloquent.
Oh yeah, I'm just not too good with staying too long in a crowded room. Or handling intense drama, you know. Sorry about my clothes. Didn't think there'd be a dress code. Not that I have anything that nice to wear to a shindig like this. I dig nice, small, simple parties, so this is a real doozy for me.
And do you host your own nice, small, and simple parties often?
Only when there's occasion, birthdays and stuff. Those are a lot more fun for me, and I can be a lot more selective about letting only the people I'm cool with attend, right? I get to pick the food too. Of course, I make most of them myself. There's usually a dozen people or less, and all we really do is just hang out. Maybe do some grilling, karaoke, dancing, you know, the usual.
That sounds nice.
Karaoke?
Ooh, oh.
Yeah. You sure you're alright? You aren't exactly being eloquent yourself, as you put it. You must have something you want to get off your chest.
I don't know, Zachary. What am I supposed to say?
You can scream merde if you want. I won't snitch.
You want to know what I think?
What?
How I feel? I think my friend may have slept with my husband. At least, I'm pretty sure she isn't pregnant with his baby, which isn't much now, is it? My husband is a selfish, pretentious, bloody sack of shite, and you know what? I don't give a flying fuck anymore! My god!
I don't give a flying fuck.
My god. Oh my
Well,
god.
that ain't
Language.
good. Not giving a crap won't make the problem go away.
I'm going to ask him for a break, Zachary. I'm not going to pretend that there isn't a problem, but I just need to step back.
Fair enough. As long as you don't just up and disappear on him, I suppose.
Yes. Now can we please stop talking about him? Tell me more about your small, simple parties. Karaoke and dancing. How does that even go together?
Simple, really. We hope Ash doesn't take the mic, put on a bit of fun music, and just dance.
What do you mean? How does that go together? It goes together perfectly. Music and dancing. What do you mean?
Wala pare, hindi uso sana yun. In high society pare, hindi uso yun.
Not that I can, but there ain't nothing complex about it.
You can't be that bad.
I'm pretty good with the twist. Or that's what they tell me, at least. I think they're just being nice. I'm sure it just
Puta,
looks
sinito na
awkward.
naman siya, pare.
Oo nga.
A choice, a choice.
We,
Prove it.
prove it. Prove it or did it happen.
I've learned that men tend to exaggerate.
Hey.
You can't honestly be that bad, can you?
What? Do you need a demonstration?
You know?
You know?
That would be preferable, yes.
It's not like there's music here, Hana. Come on.
Tong hilaryo pala to eh.
I can barely dance with music, and I don't want to be dancing alone. I'll just look silly.
Imagine, mon ami. You are an artiste, are you not? With your photos and films and your guitar. You must know notes to play an instrument. Find a melody and a beat. Would it be such a stretch of the imagination? And don't fret, I will gladly be your partner.
I can tell by his expression that he's flushed, embarrassed. But no more protests escape him, and he focuses with a slight tilt of his head. Then he starts to hum a little tune. I drag him into the gardens while we go through the motions, and he gains courage. The farther we are from other people.
Wait, nasa garden sila? Bakit yun yung background?
Hindi. She drags him to the gardens. Wala sila sa gardens. And
okay.
they drag him into the gardens. But yeah, they're dancing. And we just dance.
Parang liit ni Isaac dyan.
Maybe must be the angles, bro. Though he stumbles at first, unsure and bashful.
Where did you even learn to dance, Zach? The 60s want their moves back, honestly.
The College of Two Left Feet, obviously.
College of Two Left Feet. Puta.
And I'll have you know the twist is still an awesome dance.
We're happy and we're having fun. Even if Zachary fumbles with his steps and did the funniest, oddest movements that anyone can pass off as dancing. There is no need to impress anyone, however, not even each other. And this is the most I've smiled and laughed in a long time. It is simple. Simple is nice. Yeah, simple is nice.
Yes.
Journal. So is the dance.
The dance.
Where are we? In the branching tree. So here.
Uy, malapit na tayo sa
Curious pa rin ako dito eh. Anong mangyayari dito eh. Anyway. Hopefully we don't die. Hopefully we made the right choice.
Sana.
Oo nga eh. I wish the same can be said about what I'm about to do. Simple isn't the adjective I will use to describe the task at hand. Because really, how does one tell their husband that they want to separate and say that no, this is not a divorce? Not yet, at least. Possibility is there. But still, how am I even to explain that to Luke without him throwing a fit? Cutting too deeply into my sausages, I open my mouth to excuse myself. That is until I spy Luke mashing and stirring his poached eggs with a fork like a petulant child. Ayun.
Man-child ang puta.
Bata talaga si Luke eh. He has been silent, all the while, chin in his hand and elbow resting on the table. I worry that my absence after the debacle may have caused more harm than good.
Luke,
Tayo na achievement yet. Not you. Okay, it's you.
I think we need a bit of a break. You know, some time apart.
My words grow still and silent. I'm not quite sure whether I should be worried or not. I take it as my cue to keep talking.
It's not permanent or anything like that. Just for a while. In a few days, perhaps. I was thinking I can move back into our penthouse in the meantime, but I won't be moving out right away, so that I can help settle everything here. And I haven't even thought of packing yet. And I'll want to ask Johans to assign some of our staff. Unless you want the penthouse anyway. Then I'll stay here instead.
No, you take the penthouse. It'll be easier for you.
It isn't supposed to be this easy, is it? Can he really react so aloof to it?
Isn't this to your liking? I imagine that you'd like the space and independence. You'll have the bed and covers to yourself, and you can have whatever you want prepared for meals. You can even have all the wine you want, though I'd rather that you don't.
This isn't about that, Hana. Well, it's partly that, but...
The man stops playing with his food, choosing instead to push the plate aside.
What's wrong, Luke?
He slumps back in his chair and just stops short of putting his feet up on the table. I suspect he's wanting some wine or absinthe by now, but any sort of alcohol is suspiciously absent in his hands.
Aside from that disaster yesterday and you telling me you want a divorce, everything is peachy keen. Will you want me to start in the letters then? To start the divorce settlements and whatnot? Will you be seeking ways to throw me out onto the street without a penny to my name?
No, Luke, this isn't a divorce. I just told you this is only temporary. Are you really having a sulk because of what she said yesterday?
I am having a sulk because you believe her. You stormed out and now you're asking for us to split up? Soon enough, you'll want to throw me out like I'm a piece of trash.
Trash.
Do you think I would be this calm if I believed her, Lucille Mitchell Wright?
Yun pala yung full name niyo, Lucille Mitchell Wright.
Lucille ang puta.
Because believe me, if I did, well, it wouldn't be pretty. Besides, I know how you feel about children. It makes a whole statement laughable.
Sure, whatever you say.
His mouth draws into a thin line, and I can't bring myself to comment on his half-hearted reply. To me, the silence that follows feels oppressive. It only emphasizes the wall that has been built up by my obeisance and his hubris, whatever. And it looms between us, keeping us apart.
When are you leaving? In a week?
It won't take that long to pack. After All Saints, perhaps? I'll go and inform the staff of this.
He only nods. And I'll be lying if I said that didn't disappoint me. After All Saints, so that's November 1.
Yes.
Nasa bahay pa siya.
Oh, in 2 days. 3 days pala, 3 days.
I expected more resistance. The man could be stubborn as a mule if he wants to be. Perhaps I can leave now, just to spite him. But that isn't like me. Even if this does end in a divorce, a thing we both surely wish to avoid, we can still leave on amicable terms. There's no point in making a mountain out of a molehill.
What are you still doing here?
Gusto umalis agad?
Just leave. You still have some packing to do, don't you?
Ayun again.
Go ahead. I won't stop you.
Ano mansin to, puta.
Go ahead and do
Bro,
nothing.
I think this is the QTE part na.
Okay. No.
Hindi po.
No. We'll see. There isn't much to do, it seems, whenever I step up to the plate and try to take responsibility for something. Perhaps because everything is already being handled by someone hired specifically for that job. And with Johans overseeing the staff and Luke handling everything else as a whole, that doesn't leave much for me. I can't even take the job of delegation because all it takes is a word to one of the senior staff and everything will be taken care of for me. Moving in here a few days ago may have very well been the chore that took the most effort from me. And that didn't take any real effort at all.
Yes, Hannah, go buy a mansion in the middle of nowhere. Good idea. Great plan.
Nice. There are no dishes to set aside and busy myself with. Any mess left behind is now nearly non-existent. Sit on a counter while eating cake is supposed to be my next plan. Alas, there isn't even one to finish off, and I don't really know what brought me to the kitchens in the first place. Not like I'm craving anything else, nor do I have any unfinished business left. But there's a calling to this room. Speaking of calling, why not do just that? Might as well, since I have nothing else to do. At least that will require some effort on my part. With how cut off from the rest of Luxborn the mansion is, and with how long it was abandoned before we moved in, having a landline is out of the question. The solution supposed to be our mobiles, though it isn't much considering how spotty the signal is in the area. It'll take a bit of maneuvering to get even a single bar as it is. Takes a bit, as I said it would. I have to park my rear on one of the cold drawers, but that suits me just fine. Another matter that needs my effort is who to call. He who must who must not be named is certainly off the list. I'm Voldemort. Yeah. That doesn't leave much in the category of close friends who attended the party, along with the category of who else is awake at this early hour. But soon enough, I manage and the call goes through.
Hello, Rebecca Gales here.
Oh, yellow yung ano niya. Yellow yung phone niya.
Oh,
Who's this?
Good morning, Becky.
Hannah? Oh, wait, how did you get my number?
You responded to your RSVP through the phone. It's all saved in here, of course. I thought I'd like to say hi and make plans and get together sometime. Also, I'd love to hear news about your mother and father and about you, my dear. Oh, I hope I didn't wake you up.
Oh, you're good. It's sports day at school today, so I was just prepping for that.
Figures that you'd be a teacher as well. I'm sure your students must absolutely adore you.
Don't know about that.
Mathematics?
History.
History, actually. Anyway, it's real nice to know you've got my number. I was going to ask for yours because Mom wanted to keep in touch.
You could have asked, silly girl. I would have gladly given it to you.
Couldn't, though, because, well, the thing that happened. But really am sorry, though. I gotta run. School, schedule, stuff. Is there anything else you want to say? Don't want to use the mobile while driving?
Oh, of course, of course. I shouldn't keep you. but I wanted to thank you for your company yesterday.
Not a problem.
I was hoping you could thank Zachary on my behalf as well.
Upper route.
He was really kind and wonderful.
Well, you can tell him that yourself if you want. I can give you his number.
Oh, no, I don't want to be a bother. Intruding on his privacy.
Pretty sure he'd be fine with it. If you two on a first name basis and all. So his number, right, it's...
The call starts to go static, much to my frustration. Strange clicking noise drowns out most of her words, too. I can barely understand what she's saying. 78760304. Hey, genius. And the line completely dies. I can feel a headache coming along. It's just building up, starting from a light throbbing on one side of my head. Static is gone, and that helps a lot. But there is still that incessant, horrible clicking. Again and again and again. Which doesn't make sense. The mobile's turned off, isn't it? And if it isn't coming from the phone, then where? Ito na yan. Ito na yung cutie.
Ito na yung cutie.
Looking about, I can't help but let my eyes be drawn to the hatch, leading into the wine cellar once more. That's when the clicking stops and I can hear that crying, that familiar crying from before. Hey, look at that. An open hatch. What happened the other day when I was told that nobody should have been down there? I tried to forget it because of how it unsettled me so. One can hardly do that when I'm looking at the very thing I'm trying to forget. Somebody is crying down there again. But if I leave it alone, it simply won't stop bothering me for the rest of the day. You might have forgotten to lock it. The party going on?
This again? If somebody is pulling my leg, I will not be happy.
Oh my god. He just, straight up opens it, I guess. Fair enough, all it takes is a bit of a pull to open the hatch. I look down to the cellar, sense of uneasiness washes over me. It isn't just the sudden onset of vertigo and nausea, but also the darkness.
Ba't umulit?
Oo nga, di ba? Inulit yung parang same. Suffocating. As I look down, it feels as if it's looking back at me. Hindi siya umulit actually. Kasi di ba yung choice originally natin is to not open the hatch. Pero
so
since,
yan yung scene dun.
Oo, gusto natin ipakita sa viewers na kung ano mangyayari if you open the hatch. Basically, this is it. Diba? So, if you don't open the hatch earlier, you would still get this scene, kumbaga, dito na sa sa route natin. And as I look down, it's looking back at me. I worry that something will suddenly pull me into the deep. The cries drown beneath the shrieks start echoing in my head, high and shrill like nails being dragged across a chalkboard. Now, this one's different. Yung sentence na to. They're all screaming, shouting at me. And I can just feel her rage. Diba? Iba yung
iba.
Help me. He wants to drown me, drag me down, crush me in the very depths of darkness until there is nothing left of me. The deep abyss waits for my death. They're all calling for it. This is a nightmare. There it goes. There's a rope around my neck, and I can feel the rest of me being torn apart. And they're still screaming. I'm screaming. Though it is not my voice that escapes my lips. It claws through, climbing up and forcing its way up my throat like putrid bile. I choke and gag, yet I scream and shriek all at the same time. Fuck, read. And I'm me, but not me. Philosopher pala to eh.
Philosopher pare. Philosopher.
Oh, oh, I know where the letter is. Oh my god.
Almost
Akala ko
like
C yung
pare.
napindot ko. Fuck. I'm good. We're good. It pushes me down to my knees before I'm prone and vulnerable on my stomach. It makes me tumble. I can just feel my whole body seizing, writhing on the floor. Everything and nothing hurts. It feels like I'm on the verge of death. If I'm not dying, I nearly wish I actually am.
Hana? Hana, what is going on in there? Why are you?
Prince.
Prince. Seeing Luke, something snaps back, and I'm able to take a gasp of air on my own volition for the first time in what felt like centuries. I would have rejoiced and cried for his name if the pain still did not rack my body. Unsafe man. Branching. Okay. I remember. Yeah. Hinahanap ko kasi yung on where the path where she dies. It's one of these two paths where she dies.
Yung kay Johan.
Instead, all I can do is stare listlessly as he comes to my side and lifts me up, cradling me in his arms. He tries to get me to my feet, perhaps to take me out of fear. But all he's able to do is to get me to sit, make sure I'm not crashing on the floor. I can still feel my muscles spasm, limbs jerking like a puppet on a string. Luke holds me tight and keeps me still so that I do not hurt myself anymore. Whatever it is that happened, it has my mind feeling frayed and battered. Eventually, the pain dies down into a dull ache and my own tongue stops feeling like cut. It's only now that I can feel the wetness on my cheeks, tears streaking down my face. Putang inang ubo yun. That's very a very realistic na ubo, yung may vibration.
Oo nga. COVID pare, COVID.
Ang galing naman whoever that VA is, kung kanino mang ubo yun, is very good. Best cough I've heard in a game. Caffeine. Caffeine. Shit. A coughing racks my body now that I don't feel like choking. And it just all feels so horrible. But I don't care.
Luke, please.
What happened here? Who did this to you?
I don't know. I'm so sorry.
Shh, it's all right. You're safe now, Hana. You're safe now.